Welcome, friends, to the Ross Bolen podcast. I am your host, New York Times bestselling author, Bolen Media founder, activist, mental health advocate, and 6'2" specimen with the voice of an angel, Guillermo Ross Bolen. Joined today by investigative journalist and international F1 podcast phenom, Jared Borislow. Jared, do you have a middle name?
Yeah, I think most people do.
What is it?
Matthew.
Your middle name is Matthew. No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, coward.
Mateo.
Today's episode is unlike anything we have ever done. We are on a mission to heal our people, to overcome a shared trauma that has impacted tens of millions of Americans and even more around the world. A plague on our society that has wreaked havoc on our families, on our communities, on the very soul of mankind for far too long, Jared. You know of what I speak, Jandolph. A great book, blue in hue, wreathed in flame. I am talking, of course, about Robert Munsch and Sheila McGraw's 1986 children's book titled Love You Forever, which I am holding in my hand. Jared, does this book look familiar to you?
Personally, no. I have never seen this book aside from when you recently posted about it on social media.
So you are one of the lucky few who avoided this childhood trauma. Today I will expose you to it, among other things.
That's okay.
But yeah, this book is something that I came across again recently as a result of the baby. And not Da Baby, okay, sorry, to be clear. And it brought back an emotional flood of memories like nothing I have ever experienced before. I put a picture of it up on my Instagram story, and people lost their minds. I've been doing this for a long time. And 11 years now. And I've never posted anything that got as intense of a response as just the cover of this book. People were replying to me in my DMs telling me that just the cover made them cry. Grown men. Not just like little 12-year-old girls or something. I don't have many of them in my DMs. Mostly grown men.
I would hope not. Can you show me the cover so I can see? I don't have a personal visceral reaction to it. It's a baby.
It's a baby sitting on the floor of a bathroom.
So, next to a toilet, holding what appears to be a watch in its left hand and a towel in the other.
It's a bunch of toilet. She's unrolled the whole roll of toilet paper, and then she's getting into mischief. This is a little baby getting into mischief on the cover of a book. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this book before we get into kind of how this international trauma was incurred upon all of us. So, Love You Forever, 1986. That's the year before I was born. It's actually the year of the license plate behind me that says Bolen on it, ironically enough. Which we're against, by the way. That was my dad's original sin, my father's, that I now carry the burden of, and I'm trying to prevent that for being a thing for any of you, so I display the Bolen license plate for that reason. We all know vanity plates should be against the law.
Well, no. So you always thought that. I've always said, Ross, there is one acceptable vanity plate, and I know this because I came one click away from ordering it in the year of our Lord 2015.
Well, okay, that was a long time ago. What, 7 years ago?
Well, yeah, but once you move to a new state and decide not to get the vanity plate, then it's like, okay.
So this is when you came down from college, I guess.
Yeah.
Moved to Austin, became a Texan.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to get?
So Texas allows for 7 different characters, right?
Right.
So first, what I was going to do is I was going to find the funniest, like, you know how each state has like the main one, and then there's like the custom ones.
Yeah, they've got the alternates.
Yeah.
It's like NBA alternate uniforms.
The first thing I did was I picked out the funniest alternate, which was a license plate in support of the South Lake Carroll Dragons, which is a high school in south of Dallas.
Okay.
Like, there's a statewide one you can get, probably because, Dallas folk are lobbying the government, corrupt, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
They
probably.
somehow made
something shitty, probably.
Yeah, they somehow made one of the few license plates a South Lake Carroll Dragons. I also do like that school because that's where Chase Daniel went, noted, Heisman candidate.
Okay, sure.
Anyways, so here's what it is. 7 characters. VNTYPL8.
Ventilate?
No. Vanity plate.
Vanity plate. You wanted the vanity plate.
Yeah. And it was available. It probably still is. And I almost did it, and then I realized, I went, wait, if I have this vanity plate, people are going to take pictures of me at every fucking red light I stop at until the day I fucking move.
Yeah, the back of your head is going to be in a shit ton of Instagram stories until the end of time.
Which is why I decided not to do it.
It was a good move, Jared.
It was too good of a vanity plate to where...
You were one click away, man.
Because think about it.
Could have changed your whole life.
If you have a really good vanity plate or a really bad vanity plate, you're going to get pictures taken of you.
Pretty much the same thing happens, yeah. Good or bad.
The only vanity plate that won't get pictures taken of is one that is a vanity plate that's just a bunch of characters. Like, oh, I'm going to custom pick my random assortment of characters.
Which you have to imagine that some psycho has actually done.
Yes.
Yeah. So to get back to this book, 1986, written by Robert Munch and illustrated by Sheila McGraw. Now, to start off with a crazy story, when I posted the photo of the book, one of our listeners contacted me and told me that he lives, and I'm not joking you, next door to this baby.
Okay.
The grown woman baby, Robert Munch's daughter, this little girl, lives next door to someone listening to this show right now. And she's stupid loaded because of this book.
How old is she now?
Gotta imagine in her 30s.
I guess if she was born in 1985-ish.
Yeah, or 5 maybe. Yeah,
Okay,
maybe they
yeah.
wrote the book. Yeah, so a little bit older than me, maybe a year or two, right? And that blew my mind,
Yeah, that's
first of all,
absurd.
because this little girl has caused more pain and suffering than almost anyone in the world aside from Hitler, probably.
It's weird because it's not her fault, you know?
No, it's not her fault, technically. But her daddy did her wrong. And this is the reputation she has to live with forever. Because let's get to the context of this short children's book. It is a story that centers on a mother who sings a lullaby to her son at each stage of his life. So during his childhood, she becomes frustrated with his rebellious nature, yet always sings to him after he falls asleep. Okay, so I guess it's a little boy in the book, and maybe it's a little girl in real life.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was some confusion there for me. But the mother and son grow older, with the former becoming sick due to old age, and one day is unable to sing the lullaby, so the son then sings the rest for her, and after her death, begins to sing the lullaby to his newborn daughter. That's where it comes in. So she's the newborn daughter.
Oh, got you.
Robert Munch is the originator. His mom's singing to him, and then later in the book, it's him singing to his daughter, who is the little girl that lives next to, well, now grown woman that lives next to one of our listeners, with her own children. Apparently, she has 3. Not to give out too much of her personal information. This has been secondhand passed to me. But the story details the cycle of life, right? It's by chronicling the experiences of a young son and his mother throughout the course of the boy's life, and then describing the exasperating behavior exhibited by him throughout his youth, according to Wikipedia. And then it says, in spite of her occasional aggravation caused by her son's behavior, the mother nonetheless visits his bedroom nightly to cradle him in her arms and sing a brief lullaby, promising to always love him, which famously ends, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. I'll just read you a little bit of the back of the book. A young woman holds her newborn son and looks at him lovingly. Softly, she sings to him what I just said. This is the story of how that little boy goes through the stages of childhood and becomes a man. It is also about the enduring nature of parents' love and how it crosses generations. Love You Forever is a book that both children and adults will enjoy over and over again, which is just a lie. It'd be like if you put on a carton of cigarettes, these are going to make you healthier. That's the equivalent. And it says...
it's like a lot of Disney movies like Lion King or Bambi. It's like,
Oh,
Bambi,
no.
you're going to
There
enjoy
isn't-
Bambi forever.
You can't even give an example. That's the fucked up... Like, maybe Fox and the Hound, but there isn't a movie, maybe Brave Little Toaster,
Yeah, I was gonna
that
say.
scarred me the way this did, because it's something about, like... I mean, it makes you cry as a kid. Not just, like, as an adult. Like, even when you're a little kid and your parents are reading it to you, you're like, bro, this... You're just telling me you're going to die one day.
Is it true that like 15 of the last 17 serial killers, after they do the serial killer interview in prison,
Yeah.
they said that they were read this book every night?
Yeah, it's there's 2 really telltale signs. 1, torturing small animals, and then 2, being read "Love You Forever" too many times as a child, and those things will turn you into the next, cannibalistic serial killer. So the son enters adulthood, leaves home. His elderly mother occasionally still sneaks into his bedroom at night. You hearing me?
No.
He's fucking gone. He moves out. He's like in college, and she shows up and goes into his room and freaking cradles him and sings him the "I'll like you forever, I'll love you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be." And the illustrations by Sheila McGraw make the entire thing even more emotionally scarring. And it's just freaking brutal. And then, but look, by the end, then now he's cradling his mom. And then later, it's his own baby. And the whole thing is a fucking nightmare. It never should have been written, and it never should have been illustrated. And I'm shocked they haven't made it into a movie that has destroyed even more lives.
So I just want to get this straight here, because again, I've never read this book, didn't know anything about it.
Uh-huh.
Is it traumatizing because it's so heartbreaking, or is it like traumatizing because it's like scary?
It's traumatizing because it's so real and heartbreaking, because it's just like, hey, here's the circle of life. Here's how family works, motherhood, fatherhood, being a son, being a daughter, and we're all going to die one day. That's the whole message of the book is we're all going to die.
So my sister is a huge John Mayer fan. Loves his whole catalog, has seen him in concert many times.
Okay.
Right? We saw him at Craig's in West Hollywood. I had a reservation at Craig's. Saw John Mayer at Craig's, saw him in person.
Big timer.
John Mayer. And so she has one song by John Mayer called "Stop This Train" that she cannot listen to.
Because it makes her weep?
For this exact reason. She cannot listen to it without crying, because it's about your parents getting older and dying, and you can't do anything about it.
Right.
But just because you can't do anything about it doesn't mean it's any less sad. And she will not listen to it. Like, it's actually one of my favorite John Mayer songs, and I can't put it on.
Play
her.
it around your sister.
No, she'll turn it off.
Yeah, everybody has like those weird, either songs or movies or in Dumb and Dumber, it's a commercial that triggers them and makes them cry. But I'm telling you, this may be the most common one of those emotional triggers that anybody around my age shares. And I'm curious for the younger people in our audience, the Gen Z Zoomers, were y'all exposed to this the way that my generation was? Because it's most of the people I know. Like 7 in 10 people I know, if I show them the cover of this book, will punch me in the face and run away crying.
So my sister is like 32, I think. So like a little closer to your age.
Yep.
That must be why.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe there's some sort of, effort by the U.S. government to make people stop reading this book to their kids in between my childhood and yours.
Yeah, and by effort by the U.S. government, you mean that every single person who had this book read to them as a child actively refuses to read it to their own children because it's fucking horrifying. This is one that girlfriend was given when her baby was born. She won't read it to her. But the other day, the baby brings it to me. And she's like, read it, sits down in my lap, and I gotta go, okay, a mother held her newborn baby and very slowly rocked him back and forth. And while she held him, she sang, "I'll love you forever, I'll like you forever." I can't do it, I'm sorry. And I had to leave the room. I can't do it. I cannot fucking, even just sitting here and holding it and reading. I'm like an emotional wreck. It cannot be done. But here's some stats on this book, okay? It was listed 4th on the 2001 Publishers Weekly all-time best-selling children's book list for paperbacks. 6,970,000 copies. That's not including another 1,049,000 hardcover. Slightly more copies than we sold of the Total Frat Move book back in 2000. Holy shit, it's almost been 10 years.
It's been more than 10 years.
No, it hasn't.
Has it not?
Next year's 10 years.
2012?
Yeah.
That's this year.
Wait, no, 2013.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll do the math. You just sit there. But that's a shitload of books. In 2001, Maria Shriver, you all remember Maria Shriver. I think she was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Right? Before he screwed the maid?
Yeah, I think it was like a Mr. Deeds situation.
Stop having sex with your maids.
Well, that's how Goodfellow Deeds got all of his money in Mr. Deeds.
That's true. Sneaky.
John Turturro's greatest role.
He is one of those guys. He's like Steve Buscemi light.
Steve Buscemi is also in Mr. Deeds. He's Crazy Eyes.
But Steve Buscemi's in every movie ever made. Crazy Eyes. How is he both Crazy Eyes and Mr. Deeds and the star of Boardwalk Empire, also in The Sopranos? He's just, Buscemi's career is ridiculous. Fargo, yeah, all-time great film.
It's funny, too, because a lot of people would say he always has crazy eyes, but they just made his eyes even more crazy for Mr. Deeds.
All of the features of Buscemi's face are in fact, crazy. But in 2001, Maria Shriver wrote in O, the Oprah magazine.
Oh, I thought it was a different kind of magazine.
I have yet to read this book without crying. It says so much about the circle of life, youth, parenting, and our responsibility for our parents as we grow older. The message is so simple, yet so profound. Love You Forever is a great gift for anyone with a child, or even for your own parents. And to that I say, Maria, what the fuck? No. No. Why are you pushing this propaganda, this emotionally manipulative propaganda to the masses in Oprah's freaking magazine? Who knows how many more lives that ruined just because she had to put that fucking quote in there. Based on a 2007 online poll, the National Education Association listed the book as one of its teachers' top 100 books for children. Some readers dislike the portion of the story where the mother sneaks into her grown son's room. One Publisher's Weekly reviewer states that Love You Forever is a divisive children's book. Quote, either it moves you to tears and you love it, or it makes your skin crawl and you detest it. To which I say, no, it's both, for everyone who's ever read it. It is. It's both. A commentator wrote, quote, it's either a touching account of a mother's unending love or the ultimate helicopter parenting gone bad. The book is prominently featured in the Friends episode, The One with the Cake. In the episode, Joey performs a dramatic reading of the book at Emma's first birthday party, moving everyone to tears. Inspired by this, Joey later decides to recite the book as a dramatic monologue at an audition for an actual acting gig, which is just so Joey.
It is. Do you know what's funny? That's actually my nickname.
Joey?
No, the one with the cake.
Please clap.
Please clap.
Well done, Jared, and you do have cake. Playwright Topher Payne, I don't know who the fuck that is, wrote an alternative ending to the story, which I'm not sure you're just allowed to do for whatever book you feel.
Fan fiction?
Yeah, in which the mother is forced to recognize the son's need for personal space, and they instead agree to share their time doing things together, I guess instead of her breaking into his room when he's sleeping and coddling him like an infant. By the way, I'm not a light sleeper, per se. Are you? Do you wake up easy when you're
really.
out? Yeah, me neither. If a grown woman, my mother or otherwise, comes into my room and picks me up and cradles me like a baby, unless I am just so blackout drunk and on drugs that I cannot be woken, I'm gonna wake up. This kid is a deep fucking sleeper. Mom breaks in, is elderly, like 85. He's, in his fucking 40s or 50s, and she's cradling him like a damn infant, and he doesn't even wake up. Blows my mind. But this thing has probably done more damage than any other piece of literature in the history of humanity.
I can think of a few.
No, it's worse than Mein Kampf. This is worse.
Okay.
This is worse, because at least that gives us the lesson that history happened and we need to learn it so it doesn't repeat itself. This is just damaging. Nothing good has come from this except tears and heartbreak and nightmares. You know how when you're a kid, one of the first moments that the world is kind of becomes a scary place when you realize or it dawns on you or makes sense to you that one day you're going to die. And then, obviously the transitive property lets you know your parents are going to die. And then you have to think about that, and it's horrifying. And this is the book that put that fucking idea into most of our heads probably several years before we needed it. It's almost like when I was 8 and I was in Sunday school, and they explained to me, hey, so here's the deal. You believe in God and Jesus and this other book, the Bible, so you're solid. You're good. When you die, you're going to heaven. Here's the bad news, my friend. Everybody you know that doesn't believe what you do, your father included in my case, going to hell. Never going to see him again. And let me tell you a little bit about hell. It's eternal suffering. Non-stop. The worst possible thing you can imagine, but every day, forever. And when you're like 8, I think that concept might be a bit too heavy to carry. Same with this book. So maybe the Bible and this book should be reserved until you're 18.
You think Love You Forever should be like what, cigarettes?
You can't read this book until you can fight in a war, in my opinion. That's
because you're going to fight an emotional war when you read it.
Fucking right, Jared. And for the rest of your life internally, after you read it. It's one of those, like, once it's in you, you can't get it out. You can't undo Love You Forever. Let me read you about the Bob Munch. You know how every author, they have their little bio on the back of their book or whatever?
That was also my nickname.
Bob Munch in prison. Bob Munch is the celebrated author of many, many books, first of all.
It's kind of general.
Come on, man. You can't just put that.
Jared is a podcaster on many podcasts.
Many, many podcasts. Most had their origins in spirited performances he made before spellbound young children. What
does spellbound mean? It's the title of that documentary about the spelling bee.
Why were the children spellbound, and why was he doing spirited performances in front of them that resulted in traumatizing books? Love You Forever was first published in 1986 and has warmed the hearts of millions of families around the world. That's a lie. Bob Munch was born in Pittsburgh and went to school in Boston before moving to Canada. Bob and his wife, Anne, live in Guelph, Ontario in Canada. They have 3 grown children. One of them lives next door to our listener. Sheila McGraw, the illustrator, began her career as an illustrator and advertising writer. Her work illustrating Love You Forever in 1986 led to illustrating and writing more children's picture books and how to craft books. Just more. Not a number, just more. Could have been 2 more, who knows. She has 3 grown sons and is an expat Canadian living in Texas.
There you go.
So Bob went to Canada and Sheila bounced from Canada to Texas, and the 2 of them together unleashed a scourge of emotional trauma onto the world that will never be repeated, perhaps. Now, the point of this segment is this. I got so many responses from people, so many hilarious responses from people about how, they either can't get through the first couple sentences before they're crying, or they literally can't look at the cover without crying. I want to hear from anybody and everybody who has read this book, who was exposed to this book as a kid, and tell me your experience with it. And if your family holds it near and dear to their heart, or it's something that you never ever talk about because you don't want to go down memory lane to hell. Because that's what this does. It's awful. I'm jealous of you. Really, actually jealous of you for being able to just laugh at this and enjoy it while the rest of us are shaking in our boots.
Well, now I know never to read it. For maybe when I have a kid, I would have been gifted this and I would have had no idea. And then I would have traumatized my kid while traumatizing myself.
I've saved you and anyone else who hadn't read it before, so now you won't read it to your kids. If somebody gives you this book when you have a child, that is not your friend. That is your enemy. This thing is like the Ring in Lord of the Rings. You think it's good. You open it up, and then everything's fucking ruined. Frodo put on the ring. Bad shit happened. Don't put on the ring. Don't open Love You Forever. We may have a book burning this year in the Bolen Media headquarters backyard, where everyone who has a copy of Love You Forever can bring it, and we'll just have a big old book burning. You could throw some Eminem CDs in there too if you want, maybe some Marilyn Manson. Whatever gets you right with God.
I don't know if we have zoning for that.
We don't have zoning for this. We've turned the whole fucking house into a content house, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Yeah, well, technically they could do something about it, but we're ready for that.
Well, they have Netflix shows about hype houses. We're just a lower everything hype house. Much less hype.
Depends what you mean by lower. Lower in the country or lower quality? You don't like our hype house?
No, I think
don't feel hype?
I think the hype level is a little lower because we have probably 200 million less followers than them combined.
Then who?
Internally.
Oh, the actual hype house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All those.
They're a little more hype than us.
Have you watched that show on Netflix yet?
The TikTokers?
The Hype House is called.
You think I'm going to watch Hype House on Netflix? No, Jared. I'm too busy thinking about Love You Forever and how to keep from crying so we can do our show.
Have you ever burnt a book?
Well, I told a story once on this show that I, as a child, discovered a briefcase full of pornography. I set that on fire. Yeah, remember that? Bro, okay, so when I was little, this is the story.
Why did you
Here's the story to undo all of the damage that has been done by Love You Forever. When I was a kid, all right, I'm in my garage, right? And I'm snooping around, and I'm not going to put this on anybody, but we all know whose fault it is. And I find this briefcase, old school leather briefcase, locked, right? And I'm a kid. I'm fucking 15 years old. Me and my boy Nathan are like, yo, what's in this, dude? It's got to be something important. Maybe it's booze. So we get up in the backyard and we get a hammer out. And we straight up break into this. We don't have the code and it's fucking locked. Well, when we break into it, to our horror, it's just filled with old porno, like hustlers, playboys, and I'm talking shit from the 70s and 80s back when they had no shame. You'd open one page and it'd just be a spread eagle, like whatever they had at that point. You know, we weren't into 4K yet, but like a really high quality camera of like a vulva. And you were just like, holy God, what is that? I didn't know what it was. I was a child. So I was so horrified with what I discovered, and I knew there was no way I could lock it and make it back to the way it was. So we lit it on fire. And by lit it on fire, I mean we dumped gasoline into it and lit it the fuck on fire. And the problem is when you light magazines on fire, the pages flutter away. So then there was just pieces of porn all over my backyard, and I had to spend like several hours before my parents got home from work running around picking up these tiny like titties and vaginas and assholes that are just scattered about the grass.
How is that a real story?
I don't know. There's so many things about my life that when I look back, I'm like, that didn't really happen, did it? But it fucking sure as hell did. And it's probably because some asshole read me this book, Love You Forever, and it just led me down this horrible path I've never been able to escape since. So there's that. Hopefully that makes anybody who was sad during this segment feel a little bit better.
I don't want to harp on it too much because I think the story speaks for itself, but I just don't get why you burned it. Why didn't you just throw it in the trash?
I was a moron. I remain one today. But then I was even more of a moron. I don't know. I was a little bit of a pyro too. I liked fire.
That's also a serial killer sign.
Yeah.
So you have this book down. You've got the pyrotechnics.
Setting a briefcase full of pornography on fire is definitely somewhere in the top 5 for serial killer signs, with being read "Love You Forever" too many times and torturing small animals.
But you've kept these two small animals, Bruce and Bella, alive for
9 years.
Yeah, so
that's true.
Either you're overcompensating and you're just waiting for your time to strike, or you're not a serial killer.
Yeah, they're just my beard, so that nobody suspects that I'm actually out killing and torturing small animals all the time. Yeah. Anyway, if you were personally scarred by Love You Forever, we are putting together a class action lawsuit, and we would like you to be a part of it. Please contact me, Ross, at bolenmedia.com, or tweet at me at WRBolen, and you can get in on this. We'll see if we can all get $20, $25 or something out of the munches for munching all of our damn souls when we were children. What a fucking mess. And if you were scarred by this, today's episode is brought to you by Talkspace. We all have big dreams for 2022, but instead of setting New Year's resolutions that require superhuman feats of willpower, start with a manageable first step. When it comes to your mental health, the best way to see lasting progress is to get support from a licensed therapist who can show you the way forward step by step so that you can recover from being read Love You Forever as a child. Talkspace gives you a personally matched therapist you can connect with from your phone, from your computer, anytime, anywhere. It's never been easier to take care of your mental health. And here's the thing. If you struggle with keeping the resolutions that you came up with for 2022, beating yourself up is not going to help. Learning to accept the moments when you slip up along the way is the key to lasting progress. Forgiving yourself, being kind to yourself, and talking to a therapist can help you with all these things. With Talkspace, you get support from a personally matched therapist right from your phone or computer. Again, whenever you need it, taking care of your mental health can be part of your daily routine starting today. I have told you all time and again, I've been in therapy for as long as I've been doing this, over 10 years now, as a result of dealing with panic attacks and depression and a lot of different things over the course of my life. And whether you deal with any of those things, anxiety, depression, self-doubt, Talkspace matches you with a licensed therapist who can give you support whenever you need it. Everybody needs help sometimes. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and we all have friends and family we talk to, but friends and family are not professionally trained with the tools to help you in these certain categories that can be so challenging as a person, especially as a person who's been read Love You Forever far too many times. So you wouldn't go to your buddy who's really into law and order for legal advice, hopefully. And the same goes for your mental health. Make mental health part of your daily routine with Talkspace. Visit Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month when you use promo code RBP at sign up. That's $100 off.
That's a lot.
At Talkspace.com, promo code RBP to let them know we sent you and unlock that discount. Jared, last week when we were out, I told you yesterday, we had just a plethora of insane headlines of the day that I was like, I have to talk about this, I have to talk about this, I have to talk about this, and we just didn't have enough time to get them all in. So we're playing a little bit of catch up still, but there is one headline that's, I'd say about 10 days old now. I cannot let go or stop thinking about.
Yeah, and usually we try to keep stuff more timely.
Yeah, we want to be super late on really anything.
But we are on this, but intentionally.
And I mean, we missed Push and Pee entirely. I refuse to let go of this one, which is, here's your headline. Drake puts hot sauce in his used condoms after coitus. I wrote it. But that's the story, generally. So according to a gossip account called Too Much Hot Tea, I don't follow that one, the rapper hooked up with an unnamed Instagram model a few weeks ago. They went to a party or something. They go to a hotel. They smoke some weed, allegedly. And then they have sex with a condom. You know what a condom is, Jerry?
No.
Only sailors use them because they go from port to port. Drake ended up disposing of the condom in the restroom after they have sex, right? You know, he finishes. Drake probably made some really weird noise.
What do you think he says after sex? What if he gets one sentence before he goes to the bathroom to dispose of his seed?
I'm just imagining he's like a type of guy. That's the noise he makes when that's his O-face noise. That's Drake right there. I don't know what he says. I just know he goes to the bathroom, pops off his condom, and apparently this woman was like, I'm going to pull a fast one and get silly, stupid rich. So she goes into the bathroom, pulls the condom out of the trash, and tries to impregnate herself with it. Then there was a problem because she said it felt like she, quote, poured hot lava into her pussy, end quote. It turns out Drake came in, he comes into the bathroom, allegedly, finds this woman screaming, and he's like, yeah, no, I poured a packet of hot sauce into that to kill the sperm. And now she's trying to sue him. This is like the story in Liar Liar where a burglar falls through the roof and lands on a butcher knife and then sues the owner of the house and wins.
Yeah. Or like when Larry David, have you seen the latest Curb yet?
No, but hit me.
Oh, okay. Well, Larry David, somebody tries to rob his house.
Okay.
Yeah, spoiler alert. And,
yeah, it's Curb.
And they trip into his pool and drown. The robber does.
Oh,
but
no.
There's a law in Santa Monica that you have to have a 6-foot fence around your pool. So then the burglar who died's brother blackmails Larry David into getting his daughter an acting job.
That is very Curb.
And let me tell you what, she is not a good actress.
Shocking. Shocking. Yeah, so that entire story is just one of the... here's the thing. I'm trying to imagine being so famous, rich, powerful, whatever, that you can't even hook up casually anymore because, or at least not without preventative measures like, and what kind of hot sauce did he go with here? What do you have, like one packet of Taco Bell fire sauce that he dumped in there? You know what I'm saying?
So I was thinking about this. If it's a packet, he probably carries around, was it like the Louisiana, I'm thinking it's like the yellow and
You're
blue
saying he does
packet.
the Beyonce, he's got hot sauce in his bag?
I mean, if this is what he's doing, unless he went to a Chipotle and it's got the shaker bottle, Tabasco.
Do you think this is what everybody's doing with the Tabasco bottles they steal from Chipotle? They're using them for preventative?
Yeah. Did you see what I just did on camera?
What'd you do on camera?
I was.
I mean, you're not on camera to me. You're sitting in front of me. But what?
Okay. Well, as I was trying to do this, shaking out a Tabasco bottle, right?
Oh, so you started jacking off the air?
Yeah, and then I looked in the camera. I was like, oh no,
I'm doing masturbating a ghost.
Go to YouTube and watch this so you can see what I just did.
Yeah. Anyway, shouts to Drake. That is a bold, weird. I mean, just look. That makes it sound like none of it is worth it. Like to get that famous and rich and that good at what you do, and then you can't even throw down with some sex without having to hot sauce your own sperm. That's fucked up.
I mean, yeah, but like that's your take. My take is that he's not being preventative enough. Like there's no scientific proof that hot sauce kills sperm, right? Maybe if he had some spermicidal shit, but like if you don't want to, but the thing is this: let's say he's Drake. He can have sex whenever he wants, right? He might not always have the spermicide on him. So what he needs to do is
spermicide.
What he needs to do, Ross, if he actually wants to not have kids happen in this manner, is drink it afterwards.
You want him to drink his own cum like Tom in Succession?
I think he has to. I don't think especially if he's got litigation lining up now from
You're
this.
saying Drake should only finish on Drake?
Yes. I think that's the only way that he can prevent having another, Pusha T fodder for the world.
This one dude I went to college with was on like a formal date, and you like have a hotel room or whatever. I think it was in New Orleans or something. And when his date went to use the shower, he was like, "I'm just gonna rub one out real quick." I guess like to prepare for the night or something.
It's for stamina.
And his dumbass finished all over himself and passed out. And she came out of the shower and found him like that. And that reminds me of that.
Yeah.
But
how's he doing?
probably not great. But I don't want to know, honestly. And if he's out there listening, I don't want to know. Just keep it to yourself, guy. Just keep it to yourself. Anyway, there's a strategy for anybody trying to avoid getting people pregnant in 2022. I would say probably get rid of the condom and just get a paper shredder. Condom goes, drop the jizz-filled condom into the paper shredder.
Why? I mean, it's
Just
not
anything but this.
It's not environmentally safe, but just like flush it down the toilet if you were that worried about it.
Can't do that. That's gonna clog up your toilet.
Well,
it's like putting tampons in there.
There's no way he was at his house.
Yeah, he's at a hotel. You're right. Should have just flushed it.
I have
Fuck
this.
the hotels.
I have this thing, and I hope nobody whose Airbnb I ever stay at, is listening. But like, if I'm at a place that's not my house, I will flush whatever.
You just don't care.
I don't care.
The plumbing is your victim no matter what.
Yeah, like, I'll wipe down you have to clean up an Airbnb. Like, you got to get paper towels and 409.
Yeah, you're supposed to do a little bit of cleanup
and just throw them down the toilet. It's like a little fuck you, Like,
you're
hey,
a monster.
Hey, you made me clean up. Now your fucking septic tank's fucked.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't actually.
Now
do
we
that.
can never Airbnb Bolen Media HQ because people are going to do that to us.
No, I was kidding. I totally don't do that.
Sure. Anyway, that's our Drake story for the day. I'm sorry, but we did have to talk about it. It is still hurting my brain to imagine that being the way this man has to live. But he did go through perhaps one of the worst stories of reproduction in recent celebrity memory when he, accidentally got a porn star pregnant on a one-night stand, didn't tell anybody that she was having his child, and then another rapper revealed that to the entire world, causing one of the funniest and more probably long-term damaging for that child beefs in the history of rap.
I mean, back to back though. What a good song.
Do you think he reads his kid Adonis or whatever the fuck he named him, Love You Forever?
No, I don't think he loves him.
Certainly not forever.
Maybe for as long as the records keep selling.
I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. Why am I still holding this? Get it away. Next headline. Tongan man hailed as Aquaman after surviving tsunami and 27 hours at sea.
Yeah, dude, James Franklin thinks he's so cool with fucking 127 hours on land. Try 27 hours at sea, James.
127 hours on land and sawing off your own forearm with a pocket knife is jack shit compared to this.
Sea.
Have you ever waited for like 20 minutes, just treaded water for 20 minutes as like a workout? You ever done this? Seen this? Have you heard about this? For
no.
for your shoulder therapy or anything like that? You
No.
never done any swimming exercises?
No.
It's fucking exhausting. It's exhausting. This guy did it in the midst of like horrifying conditions, obviously. It was a full-blown tsunami. Here's some of the details. 57-year-old Tongan man being hailed a real-life Aquaman for surviving 27 hours at sea after, 2 Saturdays ago's devastating tsunami struck the island. He went under 9 times before latching onto a log and making it to safety, according to CNN. Dude's name is Lisala Folau, who lived on the small, isolated island of Atata, which has a population of about 60 people.
That sounds tight.
Yeah.
How cool that I firmly believe that is around the size of a society that humans are actually meant to live in.
That we could sustain.
Yes. Where you don't get all these mental health crises from, I put out a tweet and then a bazillion people fucking see it and then I get fired from my job, like that kind of shit. Like,
no, I'm completely with you. The world before we all got connected because Zuckerberg is a prick who needed to get more pussy was the way it should have been. Where you knew like 25 fucking people. That was it. Now it's, everybody you ever met. And you're all connected for the rest of your lives on social media.
Yeah. Oh, the thing about crime, and this is completely overgeneralized, but like crime happens more to people you don't know. Like, you're more likely to commit a crime against somebody you don't know than somebody you know. So if you have 60 people, if you commit a crime against one of those people, like, even if you succeed, the other 59 are going to beat your ass.
Somebody's going to know it was you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This shit's going to come out. It's not that easy to get away with when you got a 60-person situation. Back to college, one of my best friends from college grew up in a really small town of about 500 people in Texas. And I visited one time, and it is really wild. Like, I'm sure a lot of you, or some of you listening, are from small towns. That environment where, versus somebody like me who grew up in Houston with several million people, the environment of a small town where everybody knows everybody really does make for an entirely different community dynamic growing up. And then when people from small towns move to big cities, they tend to feel even more of a disconnect than what we're talking about because it is so overwhelming. They're just like, there's just too many damn people here. Who are all these people? What do they do? I still think that sometimes when I'm driving around. I'm like, what the fuck do all of these people do here? The answer for a lot of them is nothing. They're from California and they sold their houses there and now have millions of dollars in cash to blow on houses here.
Yeah. I mean, John Cougar Mellencamp wrote a song about small towns. I think half the lyrics are small town, but I'm sure that provides a good insight into what life is like in one.
So if you do want to know what it's like, go listen to John Cougar Mellencamp's Small Town
I
song.
imagine it's called Small Town.
I think it's just called Small
Town. Or
Town.
is it Pink Houses? Are those two different songs? And
I don't know.
Did he drop the Cougar? When did he become the Cougar? When was he John Cougar Mellencamp? Was it after he became gray and got old and had sex with young women?
A cougar is an older woman who hunts and preys on younger men, right?
What's an older man who hunts and preys on younger women? Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. There's some other names I could throw out, but I won't. Jared. Some people want me to, but I won't. Anyway, Falau said he was painting his home when he was alerted about the tsunami by his brother. First of all, that part sucks. 60-person island. Hey, we're about to get hit by a tsunami. I'm imagining they just don't have like a shit ton of resources to make. What are you even supposed to do? I know like if there's a tornado, you're supposed to go to like the lowest area, get in like a bathtub, and pray to all of the different gods. But what do you do in a tsunami?
I'm pretty sure, the first thing I think you do, and this is all conjecture, I think you go to see if you can get high ground.
High ground.
That's the first one.
That's key.
Because like even if you only go up 10 feet, that's 10 more feet of water.
That has to rise. Yeah, the sea level's got to go up. Really it's about getting as high as you possibly can, high and dry.
But I don't think that Tonga has a lot of mountains. I think it's a pretty flat place.
Yeah.
This is an underwater volcano that erupted.
Dude, have you seen the footage of the eruption?
No, I need to see it.
It is absolutely, again, very scary. It's scarier than Love You Forever, the book. There's lightning. I don't know if it's as a result of the volcano.
I've heard about this.
It's like volcanic lightning.
Yeah, that happens.
That starts hitting like in the smoke. It looks like an apocalyptic event. Like if I was on this island and looked over and saw that shit, I'd be like, well, this is it. The world is over.
Tsunami is far and away the scariest natural disaster. And anybody who denies that obviously has never seen footage or understand the amount of deaths. Tsunamis cause more deaths than any other natural disaster.
Dude, a lot of these islands like Atata, they're gone. Like they're gone. Not like, yeah, some of the buildings got destroyed. Like the fucking island is gone. Like nobody's going to get to live there anymore because everything that was there is no longer there because the water took it.
Like think about all of these natural disasters, right? People think earthquakes are bad. Earthquakes are devastating for sure, but
obviously it's a scale thing for earthquakes, but normally we don't get that many earthquakes, especially in the U.S., that are so devastating that you're losing entire communities. Although it does happen sometimes internationally.
Yeah. Now the thing about earthquakes, yes, tsunamis are caused by earthquakes, of course, but I'm separating them into two different natural disasters, right? So you could say earthquakes are the most dangerous because they cause tsunamis, but like, it's a.
But the tsunami is the thing that's the scariest, man.
Well, for me, why it's so scary is this: let's say you're in a house and an earthquake happens, you are at danger of being hurt by the house, right?
Right.
The earthquake makes your house into a weapon. A tsunami, have you ever carried a gallon of water? It's pretty heavy. How about millions and millions of gallons of water slamming into you?
And there's no escaping it. It's not like there is a safety plan or like something you can do with an earthquake. You could get away from the epicenter or whatever, try to avoid the aftershocks or I don't know. I've never lived in California, but I'm with you. In terms of natural disasters, I'm picking hurricane, I'm picking tornado, I'm picking earthquake, I'm picking
blizzard,
monsoon, I'm picking blizzard for sure.
I will say mudslides are also devastating. It's the land version of a tsunami.
Yeah, but the tsunamis, that's like, it's so inescapable. Like if you're in the path of one, there's no move other than like, because you don't get that much warning. Get to high ground. It's like, yeah, okay, but we're all now trying to get to high ground at the exact same time. How do you think that goes? It's not good.
I will say, I'm gonna run this back a little bit. tsunamis are still the scariest in my eyes because they have the biggest, like, a bad tsunami kills hundreds of thousands of people, which recently has happened.
Yes.
A bad mudslide usually kills like thousands, but like in a mudslide, you could be buried underground for days. In a tsunami, if you do die, it's a much more quicker death.
I'm looking at the top 10 deadliest natural disasters of all time because I love having depression, and it's mostly all right. Like the number one is a 1931 Yangtze River flood.
Oh.
Which apparently was really bad. But the majority of these other ones are earthquakes that either led to tsunamis or there's a cyclone in here, a typhoon in here. God, 300,000 people died in an 1881 typhoon.
What?
In Vietnam.
I know, well, the worst natural disaster, I believe, of my lifetime was the Indonesia Christmas Day tsunami.
I remember that was.
I think that was 100,000 plus dead. I believe,
and that was the one that had movies made about it, right? That we had a couple tsunami movies over the years after that, I think.
Fun fact about Indonesia: they're moving their capital city because Jakarta is sinking into the ocean.
Isn't that happening with California too? Just at a really slow rate. No. California's not sinking; it's breaking off. Right? I'm pretty sure in like 2 million years, Cali's just going to float off.
There's a rock movie, and that is a Bugs Bunny animation of California like floating away from America, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I don't remember why, but yes.
So, I had a good point. So what's happening, and I've been watching a lot of YouTube documentaries lately, and I can tell you why. Now that we're here, so Jakarta, one of the biggest cities in the world. People forget this.
Indonesia.
Indonesia is sneakily the most underrated country in the world because the world population goes China, India, United States, Indonesia. Indonesia has
275 million, it looks like, as of 2020.
Million people live in Indonesia. So Jakarta is the capital city, one of the biggest cities, if not the biggest city in Indonesia. But the thing is, they need to get water, so they're pumping water out from beneath the city. And when you pump water out from beneath the city sinks, and it causes all the stuff to get fucked and fall into the ocean.
Yeah, so we have 330 million in the United States. Yep. That's not that much smaller than the U.S. 273.5 million in Indonesia.
And their country is much smaller, so think of how densely populated it is there.
Well, it's set. What is it? Over 17,000 islands construct Indonesia.
That's insane.
Yeah. So there's some Indonesian facts for you for the day. Anyway, dude was painting his home, gets alerted by his brother. He climbs onto a tree to escape, but when he got down, another big wave swept him away. He's 57. And here's the most amazing part. This is a disabled guy that has issues walking. Now, they haven't been able to get a ton of information from him after the fact. Apparently, he's not super down for interviews. I'm assuming he's dealing with the trauma of having Love You Forever read to him too many times as a child. But the dude just floated, ended up swimming 4.7 miles to the main island of Tonga Tapu, I believe it's pronounced. Reached the shore 27 hours later at 10 p.m. on Sunday. And when this dude rolled up, people had to have been like, Lisala? You're alive? 27 hours, bro? If you're gone for 10 hours, I assume you're dead in the ocean. 3 hours in the ocean, I assume you're a goner. But this dude made it 27 hours. It's fucking crazy.
I have a question. Do you think, he said he came back on shore, right? Swam his way in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think at any point in his journey he got pitted?
I think he had to be absolutely pitted the entire time to pull this off. So pitted. So pitted. Last headline for the day. Teen hacker gains remote control over 20 Tesla vehicles.
And one of them was yours.
I was a little concerned when I got in my car and all the lights were flashing and it was playing,
Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley.
Over and over and over and over again. It was just horrifying. But yeah, some 19-year-old IT security specialist named David Colombo got on Twitter, by the way. It's not like he called up Tesla or reported this to the government. He just got on Twitter and fired off a thread. He was like, hey, everybody, I gained complete control of over 25 Teslas in 13 different countries without their owners knowing. Wouldn't disclose how he did it. Didn't want to, I guess, expose more vulnerability to their system, but he did say it was due to errors on the owner's part and not a security flaw in Tesla's software.
I mean, I agree with that. That makes sense. Because let's say you have a Facebook account and I give you my password.
Yeah.
It's not Facebook's fault.
It's not
Sounds
Facebook's
like what he
fault.
did. But I think it's the idea that a
It shouldn't be
car can
easily
be
accessible.
remotely controlled.
Right, and this is the thing about these autonomous cars that we've never really, talked about. We always think about the positives. Oh, it'll be so safe. Everybody can just, we won't have to drive anymore. There'll be no more car wrecks. Thousands of lives will be saved, blah, blah, blah. But then there's the other side of it, which is like, and then hackers can take control of all of our cars and drive us wherever they fucking please. It's like that episode of Silicon Valley where that dude,
Jared,
it takes him to like a storage box and then ships him across the ocean. Like, I'm not trying to have my Tesla do that. It turns out the dude couldn't actually remotely drive the cars, but he could steal them if they were at their physical locations because he could unlock them. And he could disable their security, open the doors and windows. And here's the fucked up part. Even while they're on the road. So somebody could have been driving along and this dude could have just been like, windows down, windows up, windows down, just like scaring the shit out of everybody in the car. But yeah, Tesla's security team has told Colombo that they're looking into it. Because once again, Tesla dismantled their PR department and does not respond to literally anything, ever. Which is also a bold strategy, Cotton, and we'll see how it pays off.
That's what I do on social media. I only respond to compliments. If you say something negative to me, you're not getting a reaction.
It's like it never happened.
I only will ever respond to somebody who's saying something negative to me if I am 100% sure that my response is going to absolutely bury them. So I always have the upper hand.
See, I don't have the willpower for that. I know exactly what you mean, and that's what I need to be doing, but I just can't help it. I like fighting on the internet too much. It's a problem. So those were our insane headlines of the day. You got a good condom hot sauce story out of Drake. Aquaman surviving 27 hours at sea. Shouts to Lesala. And obviously T's and P's to everybody that was affected by the tsunami. That is one thing, man. Like, when we have natural disasters like that, internationally, I feel like if it's not your home that is impacted, man, the news cycle moves on quick. Like, mad quick. In 2022. I feel like even 10 years ago when we had an international disaster, it would get focused on for like a month and everybody would be like raising funds and shit. During a pandemic, everybody's like, yeah, we got our own problems. Figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Puerto Rico, part of America, still kind of fucked over there from Maria. And we don't hear about it, so.
Lots of places fucked.
Yeah.
That's true, though. It's not just outside the United States. Flint, Michigan comes to mind.
Oh, yeah. I wonder, is that fixed?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope. No, not quite. I'm not sure it ever will be at this point, honestly. But yeah. And then also the teen hacker. Good times. Today's episode is also brought to you by Indochino. Whether it's finding a signature color, wearing a more flattering cut, or getting a new statement piece, the right detail can take your wardrobe up a notch. This year, let Indochino take care of your 2022 style edit. You can customize everything from suits and shirts to chinos and bomber jackets at prices more affordable than you might expect. And I can tell you personally, the Indochino experience is incredible. Whether you go to one of their showrooms and get measured up, we have one here in Austin, but if you're in a town or a city where they maybe don't have an Indochino showroom, it doesn't really matter. You can do it all online, measure yourself from home, or you have to get somebody else to help you is the move. I've done both. I've been to the showroom in Austin, and most recently I measured myself at home, checked out all their new wares online, and the experience and the end result is the best custom clothing experience I have ever had. Indochino offers completely custom-fitted suits, shirts, casual wear, and more at surprisingly affordable prices, so you can get a wardrobe personalized to your style and taste without spending a fortune. Every piece is made to your exact measurements. These are tailored clothes.
Yeah, and
made for you, Jared.
If you've ever bought a suit, obviously you buy it, they're pretty expensive, and then you got to get it tailored.
Right. Yeah.
It's it can be up to $300 for a crazy amount of alterations.
Sometimes doing the alterations on the frickin' suit you bought can cost more than the suit itself.
That's how Joseph Bank gets you. They're like, hey, you want to get all these frickin' suits? No, Joseph Bank out of business, Indochino in business, get Indochino.
Boom! You can create a suit that fits you and your style perfectly. The best part, Indochino suits start from just $429 and shirts from $79 with all customizations included. Give yourself a style edit that sets the tone for the rest of the year with Indochino. Get $50 off any purchase of $399 or more by using the promo code RBP at Indochino.com. So if you've got like a wedding coming up this year, maybe like Jared does, or I don't know, any reason that you would need to look good in a suit. Maybe a lot of you have returned to the workforce and you've got your corporate attire going. Indochino is going to look very, very good on you. Get a $50 off your purchase of $399 or more at Indochino.com. promo code RBP. That's Indochino.com, promo code RBP.
And now, Ross Boland's Animal of the Week.
This could also be a stuff to Wikipedia when you're high, but we haven't done an Animal of the Week in a minute, so what the hell? Today's animal, Andy, parentheses, goose.
Is this like one of those Wikipedia disambiguations where it's like, did you mean John Smith the explorer or the soccer player?
Yes, it's exactly
But
one
it's
of
Andy
those. It's Andy
Goose.
Goose. All right, Andy was a goose. Again, 1987 is when he was born. I don't know why everything has to be around my birth year. Today's episode, but he was a goose that was born without feet, a footless goose, well known for wearing sneakers to help him stand and walk. He's a goose sneakerhead.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to concentrate on this because now all I'm thinking of is the song Footloose, but it's about a footless goose. But I'm trying to think about how that would go. Footless goose, put on your goose shoes.
Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
saved that whole fucking town through dancing. Did you know?
Wait, is that Footloose? That's
Yeah.
dirty. Isn't that Dirty Dancing?
Nah.
Footloose is the guy who died. The guy from Ghost.
Huh?
Yeah, right?
Nah, bro. Kevin Bacon, bro.
Oh. Who's the guy?
He's loose with his feet.
Who's the guy who was doing the pottery where he was a ghost?
That's Ghost.
No, I know that, but I thought he was in that.
Well, this is one of those things where when you can't think of his name, then I definitely can't think of his name.
But you're more into movies.
Well, I also have the Google machine working right now, and I'm just buying us time. It's Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. Is he not in Footloose?
I don't know, maybe. No, it's Kevin Bacon, Laurie Singer, Sarah Jessica Parker, John Lithgow, Chris... Who the fuck... No, Jared, to answer your question.
Footless goose.
That is a hot scene, though, in Ghost. The pottery. You want to do some pottery together
I
later?
would love to do some pottery.
Yeah, I'd love to pot you. Anyway, this goose had no feet. His name was Andy. When he was 2 years old, Gene Fleming from a nearby Hastings became aware of the plight of the bird. Fleming was a member of a local charity for disabled children and inventor. And he thought, maybe I can help this goose. So he took Andy and his mate, Polly, and moved them to his farm in Hastings. Initial failed attempts at providing Andy with more mobility included a skateboard-like prosthesis. I gotta say, Andy, parentheses, goose, with his feet permanently fixed to a skateboard, probably wouldn't have worked as well. I just don't because how do you brake?
Wings. You flap your wings.
Ah.
Drag.
The drag of the wings. Okay, I see what you got going here. Anyway, Fleming then fitted Andy with specially adapted baby-sized shoes, and he successfully taught the bird to walk with them. And there's pictures and videos of this bird. It's pretty wild.
Is he a sneakerhead?
A little sneaker bird head. Subsequently, Andy caught the attention of the media and a sportswear manufacturer, which offered a lifetime deal to supply shoes for Andy, the duck. Or goose, excuse me. The bird wore out a pair of shoes in about 1 month. So I'd say he was a sneakerhead. If every month he was having to get new shoes, that's...
Well, he's keeping bad care of them if they're going bad after a month, right?
Yeah, but he's got wings. How are you supposed to, clean your own shoes?
I don't know, man. I don't think sneakerheads would approve of this guy's the care that he takes, Andy.
Yeah. Well, some sneakerheads are really big on, wearing your kicks. There's this whole movement of people who are like, there's no point in buying shoes if you're just going to put them in a case and not wear them. Which, by the way, I saw DJ Virgil Abloh passed away, rest in peace. They did this Louis Vuitton Nike Air Force One collab. These Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones that they only made 110 pairs of. So only the most famous and influential people in hip hop have these shoes. It's like Kid Cudi, Kanye, fucking, who did I just say? We the best. DJ Khaled. And DJ Khaled wore his out to the Miami Heat game, sitting courtside. And rather than just be a normal person who, when you wear shoes and you sit down, your feet are on the ground, he brought a red Louis Vuitton pillow to put under his shoes courtside. It was one of the coolest and most utterly ridiculous things I've ever seen anyone do. He also went and took a fucking free throw before or during the game. I can't remember. Not during the game, but, during a timeout or something. And he made it. DJ Khaled, the least athletic-looking human in the entire world, who has also been recording with Kanye for several days now, and I look forward to seeing whatever the hell that is. But yeah, back to Andy the goose. He is the Forrest Gump of ducks. I mean, geese. Are geese and ducks related?
I mean, they're birds, but no, they're not.
They look similar, though.
Not even.
Which
not
one are you
even
more
a-
afraid of, a duck or a
Oh,
goose?
geese are
The
terrifying.
geese are angry.
They're all over golf courses.
Yep, and they will fuck you up.
You step in their poop, and then they sprint at you. I've been sprinted at by a goose. Luckily, I had a golf club in my hand, and I whacked the shit out of it like Larry David did that black goose, and
Fucking killed that goose, man.
Killed that goose.
Got kicked out the club, I think. Really upset the owner.
It did.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so Andy became a role model, especially for disabled children. With his shoes, he was able to walk, swim, and fly. I'm trying to see a goose fly wearing sneaks, bro.
I mean, it's called a fly right there.
That is some dope shit that I need to be familiar with. His owners hoped Andy's mobility would give hope to children and people with disabilities. Very cool story. But then,
That's literally what I at Clearwater Marine Aquarium, where I volunteered growing up with Winter the dolphin. Rest in peace.
I always forget about dolphin
Winter
tail.
had the tail cut off, and they gave Winter a prosthetic tail, and so there were a bunch of kids who had prosthesis who would come in and like hang out with Winter. Very inspiring.
Hold on, they gave a dolphin a prosthetic tail?
That's literally the movie Dolphin Tale is about that. Yes.
Well, Jared, nobody actually saw that movie. You were just in it.
I'm in Dolphin Tale. I'm a featured extra, uncredited, very very prominent. If you see
What's the
scene,
difference between a featured extra and just an extra?
Well, I'm an extra who knows how to market himself. That's the difference.
That is the difference. You are probably the most famous known member of the Dolphin Tale film at this point. Who else was in that movie?
Morgan Freeman,
Yeah, he's pretty famous, I guess. Lots of people know about him.
Harry Connick Jr.,
Okay, he's well known.
Chris Christopherson.
Why were these people all in this movie?
I don't know. And then also randomly, Cozy Zulsdorf was one of the child stars. And I was playing Rocket League the other day, and one of the songs in Rocket League features her vocals.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea who that is.
And there's this little turd named Nathan or some shit, but he's not famous. He's a loser. I'm more famous than him, bitch.
Nathan, you tool. Here's the tragedy of Andy, parentheses, Goose. On October 19th of 1991, Andy disappeared. And a day later, he was found dead in a local park with his head and wings removed.
That sounds like a trophy situation.
The local community collected a $10,000 reward to apprehend the murderer. However, the killer could not be identified. Jimmy Hoffa, Biggie, Tupac, and Andy the Goose. Those are our nation's biggest unsolved mysteries.
And O.J. Simpson's wife.
That one's been pretty solved. Just didn't go well in court. Thanks to
Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran. I almost always say Johnny Carson, but he's a late night host.
Johnny Cochran has to be a porn name.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah, and you know what, Ross? The glove never fits.
So you always must acquit. Today's episode of RBP is also brought to you by MyBookie. If you love sports and or betting on sports, MyBookie is our long-standing sports betting sponsor with a full-blown online casino, also a live casino. You can actually watch them deal your cards, drop your roulette ball into the wheel, whatever you want. Sportsbook is incredible with all the live lines and prop bets and futures and shit you could possibly need. This is where I bet on sports at MyBookie.ag. It's the place to be. And to get you started as a listener of RBP, MyBookie is matching all first-time deposits up to $1,000 with promo code RBP. They will double your funds to double your winnings and get in on all the best action at MyBookie.ag when you use the code RBP upon sign-up today. NBA season coming towards the second half. NFL playoffs. We got conference championships upon us. We're about to discuss some of those matchups after the craziest weekend, like bar none, it isn't an argument anymore, in the history of the NFL. That was the greatest, 4 games of football back to back to back to back to back that I have ever seen in my life. I cannot wait to see what the conference championship brings. Bet on them with us at mybookie.ag if you please. Don't miss out. Double your first deposit up to $1,000 by using promo code RBP. Head to mybookie.ag today. Place your bets. Enjoy all 2022 bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie code RBP to support the podcast. Let them know we sent you for that 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Stipulations apply. Code RBP at mybookie.ag. Let's talk about these matches. That was the greatest weekend in NFL history. I am an NFL hater.
Because your team sucks.
Even before, that definitely plays into it, Jared. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it doesn't. But historically, as an organization, the NFL just does some of the most bumbling, idiotic, nonsensical things I have ever seen. basically ever since the whole kneeling Colin Kaepernick debacle, I've just been like turning a blind eye to everything that happens outside of the actual football with the NFL because it's just such a clusterfuck all the time. Roger Goodell is one of the most hateable human beings in sports ever. He's incredible at his job, I will say that. Probably the best commissioner in sports in my lifetime in terms of what he's done for the league, the game, not so much the players maybe, but for the owners and their money, and for everybody who watches and enjoys the sport of football, I think it's pretty undeniable that the guy has grown the game and the NFL entertainment-wise, unlike anybody else has done in any other league. But he's still incredibly hateable. I don't know many people who are Goodell fans outside of Rob Lowe. And
I would like Goodell as to be a contrarian.
You would like him to be a contrarian?
Yeah.
Just so you could be a contrarian?
Yes.
Yeah. But, he is a despicable man. He's very hateable. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he's got a hateable face, too.
Yes, but he has done an undeniably good job making the NFL into the most wildly entertaining professional sports league on the face of the earth, even if that is at the cost of, other people's well-beings.
Well, Formula One has got a case, but I'm just saying.
Perhaps. But regardless, the first round of the playoffs was absolutely trash. And yes, Jared, to be fair, my team is absolutely trash, which makes the NFL far less enjoyable when your team is so bad that you really want to look away. But in this most recent round, to get to the conference championship, we had 4 games that back-to-back blew minds and had Twitter and everyone in the sports world going absolutely batshit all weekend long. Bengals-Titans ends in a walk-off field goal for the Bengals, who have they been to a conference champion? It's been forever. The Bengals used to be like the team that the Texans would beat in the wild card round, and we knew we were fine. If we were getting matched up with the Bengals and Andy Dalton, we knew we were fine. We were going to get one win before we went and got the shit kicked out of us by the Chiefs or Patriots back when the Texans were actually capable of fielding a football team that could get to the playoffs in their shitty division of the AFC South. Now, with Joe Burrow even taking 10 sacks, this man got his ass beat the whole game. And Derrick Henry came back for the Titans, and he still got it done with their fucking... I think they drafted that kicker in the 5th round. And you know how people are always like, oh, drafting a kicker's idiotic. Nope, that shit paid off. That dude is a freak. He didn't even... He did the Steph Curry. You know how Steph will shoot a 3 and run off before he even sees if it went in? That's what dude did with the game-winning field goal to put the Bengals in the conference championship. It was fucking cold. Then, Niners-Packers happens. Love or hate Aaron Rodgers. We've already discussed a bit of your own sorrows as a Packers fan.
My team, no.
Your team, Jared. What are you going to do, Jared? They lost the big game. But yeah, they did lose the big game, 13-10. Niners walk-off field goal.
Yeah, the blocked punt was not great.
Whew, special teams, man. Special teams really got the Packers fans this year, and nobody feels bad for you, just for the record. Mm-hmm. Y'all have won so many games and had so much fun as a franchise compared to most.
Well, not this year with the whole Rodgers thing, beginning of the season and midseason. But
Rodgers!
Let me say this.
Get vaccinated!
Yesterday, I thought of a good spin zone, okay?
Okay.
The rest of the NFC North was so bad that they didn't give the Packers any real practice, which is why they choked in the first game of the playoffs.
I mean, that is a legitimate thing that does happen. Your competition, steel sharpens steel or whatever. If you're just playing a bunch of shit teams all year. Well, that's what would happen with the Texans every season. We would play a bunch of shit teams and have a 12-4 record and be like, oh, look at us. We're going to do it with Matt Schaub. And then we'd get to the playoffs and play a real team that has a hard division with actual football players in it, and they'd pound us. So it's kind of how it goes sometimes. But yeah, 13-10 Niners advance on a last-second field goal. Then
by Robbie Gould, fucking Bears kicker, probably hates the Packers more than anybody.
I love Gould. Rams Buccaneers, with obviously Tom Brady, he's very old and the most famous football player in the world. So it was a big storyline. This game looked like over. Matthew Stafford spent his whole career in Detroit. He's been this guy that people have not really seen as a winner, but also he was just in a shit situation. It was kind of going to be interesting to see what he could do with a really legitimate team and coach in Sean McVay and the LA Rams. And they got up to a huge lead to the point that I left the room. I was just like, oh, this is great. It's fucking
20
over.
to 3.
We're not going to have to watch Brady anymore. And, people are tweeting like, everybody knows Brady's never out of it. And I'm like, yeah, not this year. I've been watching the Rams. Sorry, this is fucking over. Come back into the room 30 minutes later. The game's fucking tied. Another game-winning walk-off field goal, except this time for the Rams. And the Bucks and Brady have been sent packing.
And the Rams kicker is the Bucks' old kicker, so.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's poetic justice right there. And then finally, the last game of the weekend, which was inarguably now one of the greatest, I won't even say football games, one of the greatest professional sporting events that has ever occurred in mankind. The Bills and Chiefs.
3 lead changes and a tie in the last 2 minutes of the game.
25 points or 20, some crazy amount of points in that last 2 minutes, 1 minute and 45 seconds or something. I was like about to crap my pants. Everybody knows I had some diarrhea issues this past week. I'm still getting over it a little bit. And I couldn't go to the bathroom because people were scoring every 15 seconds. Even when, I thought, how whenever somebody scores and you go, oh, they left too much time on the clock. There were still 3 scores left the first time I said that.
And then the last time you said it, you were joking because there were 13 seconds.
13 seconds left in the whole game. Have you ever seen anybody pull off a 13-second drive like that?
Well, as it's a tweet that I think you retweeted or liked earlier today that said Patrick Mahomes' 13-second drive at the end of the game to tie it up was shorter than Dak Prescott's final play. His QB sneak. It was shorter than it.
Yeah, piling on the Cowboys. America's pastime. But yeah, this was, look, I've watched a lot of sports. I have very few times had as much fun watching a game that I had no personal emotional attachment to. Like, I'm not a fucking Bills or Chiefs fan. Just watching for the love of my own money because I bet the over, which hit hard after they scored fucking 30 points in the last 2 minutes. Dude, it was just the best way to end a weekend ever. I love a good fucking, late Sunday. The start time was perfect too. It didn't go too late into the evening. It didn't keep me up because I was so jacked up after the fact. But the back and forth at the end, this is one they'll play on ESPN Classic for the rest of fucking time. Just if you didn't watch it, it's literally I would never ever recommend this. I'm not one of these dudes who will DVR a sporting event and then go, if you don't watch sports in real time, it's not worth it. Not in this case. If you missed this game, go watch it. It's like recommending a Marvel movie. That's how exciting it was. It was fucking amazing, so entertaining. You don't even have to like football or sports or know anything about these two teams really to have had fun. It was the ultimate professional televised sporting event come to fruition.
Except it was decided by a coin flip, literally.
And that is the big complaint, right? And this has been a thing for my whole life in the NFL. They've been trying to figure out how to solve the overtime problem. And it's weird that now in the age where we're adding more games to the regular season, we're still in a position where one of the teams cannot even get a chance to rebuttal in overtime. It's a bummer. Makes people sad that Josh Allen didn't get a chance to get the football, go back out there and see if he could keep it going. But the thing they will argue, the NFL, the Shield, is what? We're supposed to just let him play forever? What if they just if nobody stops, score? No, the game never ends, everybody dies?
College football rules make sense.
Will you start on the, 20? Or the 30?
I don't know where you start, but I know you get, maybe it's the 20? I don't know. Either way, it's you go and you have to, if you tie, it goes to the next round. But eventually after 2, you have to go for 2-point conversions and it'll end eventually.
Yeah. So there's a thing that kind of forces.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got to do something different because just as a competitive game, it makes it look bad when one of the two teams, the whole thing is luck of the coin flip.
Maybe they are worried. This is a conspiracy theory time. Maybe they're worried that would fuck over under bets really hard because it'd be more overs if it was back and forth. Because from what I understand, I think a lot of NFL overtimes, at least a decent amount end with the touchdown on the first drive, and obviously it goes to the next team if it's a field goal and they can have a chance to rebut. But
in this case, it was just sad though.
Yeah,
after
Josh
watching
Allen,
that battle,
Josh Allen had 2. There was a point where 2 of his last 3 throws were touchdowns in the last minute of the game or some shit.
Yeah, and I watched a little bit of Sports Center this morning, or First Take or whatever the fuck. One of the first times in years I've watched ESPN to
Skip Bayless
to get a piece of it. Nah, Skip wasn't there. It was what's his old arguing partner? Not Shannon Sharp.
Oh, wait, Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, thank you, Jared.
Wait. This is I don't get to do this very often.
Oh, here we go, Stephen A.
Stay off the weed.
That guy, Stephen A. Smith. And he was talking about and reflecting how I felt about this, which is that, like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is incredible. That is not something anybody should be arguing with at this point. But Tyreek Hill was a massive, massive, massive piece of the success that Patrick Mahomes had yesterday.
I mean,
all he had to do was get him the ball. The dude was gone. I mean, several times I watched him, we're talking about evading like 6 or 7 tackles in one play.
And he had the kick return, the huge kick return,
Huge
and the
kick return.
and the touchdown that literally only he in the entire league could have scored.
Now, nobody wants to talk about that aspect of it because Tyreek Hill is a piece of shit, a documented asshole who has had issues with the law and women, and you can go look that up if you want to because it's not something I really feel like talking about. But it is the reason that people are just like, yeah, let's just focus on Patrick Mahomes. If this is any other receiver that's not a piece of shit, or like the dude on the Bills who had 4 touchdowns and set a record.
Gabriel Davis.
Never even heard of that cat before yesterday. Gabriel Davis is now like #1 on my draft board for next year's fantasy draft. If it had been that dude, I mean, it'd be nonstop showering praise on him. But because it's Tyreek, we're just going to focus on Patrick. On the other hand, Josh Allen was pretty much having to make this happen on his own accord. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have a Tyreek Hill. Yes, that dude was incredible, Gabriel, but he's not Tyreek Hill. All right? Nobody is Tyreek Hill. But Tyreek Hill kind of sucks. So I'm going to stop saying his name. Anyway, it just the whole thing was heartbreaking. For the Buffalo people, they haven't had a whole lot of fun. All right? They haven't. Historically, the Buffalo Bills are a bit of a joke. Okay? They're a lot like my Texans over the course of my lifetime, where there hasn't been much winning or anything to be proud of, mostly pain and suffering and poor management. Now they finally have their guy, Josh Allen. A lot of people were comparing these two like this is the new Manning and Brady, Josh Allen and Mahomes. Well, this is 2 years in a row. Josh Allen has failed to get past Mahomes, so it really is starting to have that like really iconic rivalry feel to it. But I just feel bad for the dude because unless he finds somebody to rival Tyreek Hill's explosiveness, this is going to continue to be a problem. There's not a defensive scheme to stop the fastest man alive. The dude threw the peace sign up when he still had a defender in front of him 20 yards out from the end zone. That's how fast he is. He didn't even have to worry about it. It's fucking nuts.
How does he not? Like, I think there should be no taunting calls, but if there is still a taunting call, how does he not get that every time?
Because you can't. They do give it to him sometimes, but you can't call it in that situation. He's an asshole for throwing it up, for even making this a conversation. He's an asshole.
Like I think you should be allowed to taunt. I think taunting and celebrating should be. You're going to get more eyeballs on the sport, and it's way more fun for viewers.
Do you remember when they kind of opened it up at one point?
Yeah.
They were like, we're going to allow dancing and shit. And now they're like, we're back in the, it's like you can't really talk that much shit or we're going to flag you.
I've seen people get taunting penalties for way less than that.
And I hate it.
And it's like he also throws it at you. Like he extends his arm in your face.
It's on some disrespectful like hippie girl shit too. He's like, hee hee. You know what I'm saying? Like it really is. That was brutal. The dude he threw that at is not feeling good today.
No, well, the guy, if you watch the replay of that play too, so that guy, so I guess he's a linebacker and he was guarding a different receiver downfield, and like he gave up for about 2 seconds. He's just like looking around like, oh, I guess the play's dead. Turns around, sees Tyreek running around him, tries to get him, and he ends up like tackling him like on the line.
Oh, it's fucking nuts. The game gave me a heart palpitation. But in the end, yeah, Chiefs end up taking down the Bills 42-36 and advancing. So our conference championship matchups are Bengals-Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 7.5. The Bengals are not going to have fun in this football game.
Hey, I how good though was the Chiefs' defense? I feel like they didn't get to Josh Allen that much.
I couldn't get a feel for if either of these teams had anybody on defense because the offenses were so overpowering. It was just like, wait, that was at the end of it. I was like, does the Bills D suck?
Well, the Bills, they had the #1 defense, I think.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, still couldn't do anything. You still couldn't get a stop. What the fuck are the Bengals going to do?
How good is... I mean, the Bengals O-line's clearly terrible.
It doesn't exist.
So if the Chiefs have a good pass rush...
then it's going to be a
good.
long night.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is awesome. I really, really like him. I'm super jealous of Cincy that they have him, especially now that we're back to developing a rookie quarterback with a thick neck in Houston.
Not a rookie anymore.
Not a rookie anymore.
Everybody says sophomore year is your better year, your best year ever.
People do say that. But he's fucked. There's no way. There's just no way. I'm sorry. There's just no
You
way.
hammering Chiefs?
If the line stays near there, yeah, I think they win by at least 14. That's just my personal opinion. And then Niners-Rams should be a little more interesting. The Rams are favored by 3.5. I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, no, I don't either.
So I don't think they're going to make that happen. So we could end up with a really good Super Bowl here in Chiefs-Rams.
Can I be honest with you? Here's what's going to happen, okay?
Okay.
So the last time the Niners and Rams played, it was like the last or second to last game of the season. It was at SoFi Stadium, so a Rams home game. There were so many Niners fans and so few Rams fans at the stadium that every time the Rams had the ball and they were at home, they had to do a silent count because the Niners fans were so loud at a Rams home game.
Holy
that
shit.
Matthew Stafford couldn't hear, nobody could hear him.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this, actually.
So,
it's not good.
So I think unless LA's bandwagon fans show up hard in this championship game, it could be another Niners home game.
And to your point, the LA Rams, formerly the St. Louis Rams, and Los Angeles being a historically shitty sports town, they just don't have the same kind of following as a San Francisco 49ers, one of the historic NFL teams with generations and generations of families rooting for them. It's not the same.
Well, also, they gave the Rams to LA at the same time they gave them another team for fun.
Which is just mad disrespectful.
Hey, LA's been a bad sports town. Let's give them 2 NFL teams because then they'll really like the NFL.
Money over everything.
I feel bad for
everything
San
around
Diego.
me. Huh?
I feel bad. I mean, I can't really feel that bad for San Diego because they get to live in San Diego.
I don't feel bad for anybody in San Diego,
but
I've been to San Diego.
I have too. I'm going there soon.
Oh, yeah, dude. Maybe I'll sneak myself in your luggage. You got a suitcase filled with porn that you can take out and put me in instead?
You can't light it, okay? It's against TSA rules and regulations.
Yeah. Please don't light me on fire. But yeah, anyway, if you're going to bet on the NFL playoffs, the conference championship matchups, do it with our sponsor, MyBookie.ag. Use that code RBP when you sign up. Looking forward to it. That was just anything that I had to say negative about the first round of the NFL playoffs, or really anything about the NFL this entire fucking season, was wiped away by this weekend. That's how good it was. That's how impressed I was. That's how much fun I had. And honestly, I needed it. That was a rough week, having COVID the whole week, not getting to have really any fun, and then 4 consecutive football games of excitement to make up for it. So thank you, Shield.
I think it's going to be, I'm going to really root for the Bengals, but I think it's going to be Chiefs big, not like stop watching by halftime. And I think Niners-Rams is just going to be, maybe that'll be a good game, but like whoever wins that's just going to get rolled by the Chiefs probably.
I do. That's my reason for rooting for the Rams, is that I don't want to see Chiefs-Niners and just watch the Chiefs destroy the Niners.
I think if it's Chiefs-Niners, it's going to be an all-time boring Super Bowl.
I do not want that.
Rams have a chance.
And they keep it interesting. And I love Matthew Stafford. He's one of the few people that went to Highland Park High School that I will stand here and say, I like that dude. I do.
Hey, go Scots.
I'm not going to say that, but I will say I like Matthew Stafford. That is my concession for Dallas listeners today.
Now that I'm thinking about it, the Rams are actually good.
Yes, Jared, they're quite good, but they're not the Chiefs.
Yeah, but like their defensive line, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, I guess he's a linebacker, but is he a linebacker or is he an outside lineman?
Von Miller
kind of plays both, doesn't he?
He's like the J.J. Watt thing, where they kind of line him up however they feel like fucking with people.
And then they have one other guy. They have the other guy. He's good.
The other guy.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Pretty good.
I like their coach, too. McVay is cool. I like the young coaches. They, well, not all of them. Kingsbury sucks. Did you see that stat about how Cliff Kingsbury's last, 6 games of every season since he's been at Tech, he's had a losing record? Like, every season he has coached, since Tech, including the NFL, his teams, even if they start well, the back half of the season is just a total clusterfuck. That dude's going to be fired.
No, they almost won.
Yeah, but
they were like what? They were second in the conference behind the Rams?
Also, I'm bummed that Kyler Murray's a douchebag. I thought he was tight.
No, he's not.
He's a huge tool.
Yes.
I keep hearing worse and worse stories about this guy now. Makes me sad in my pants.
No, I mean, when you transfer, okay, I want you to think about this. If you go to A&M and then you transfer to Oklahoma, there's no saving you.
Yeah, it's a cardinal
You're a
sin.
douchebag.
My one of my uncles, who is a diehard Aggie with season tickets and all that, he like won't even say Kyler Murray's name because he's still so upset about when he like he took it as like a personal betrayal. Kyler transferring to another school.
Does he feel the same way about Kenny Hill when he transferred to TCU?
I think he did, but now it's like one of those things where it's like, who gives a fuck, right? Is Kenny Hill still doing anything?
Absolutely no chance. Kenny Trill, who is known at TCU for falling asleep in planters around campus drunk.
God, what a cool nickname, though.
Kenny, that's a really good nickname.
Kenny Trill. Yeah, an American football. Oh, now he's a coach and former quarterback. He's the quarterback's coach for TCU.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Kenny?
In his first start with the Aggies, though, he broke Johnny Manziel's school single-game passing yards record.
Johnny Manziel.
From West Palm Beach. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wow. Anyway, that's our sports talk
my
for
God.
today.
Can I tie everything together?
Yes. Is this a goose story?
No. Kenny Hill, he's from West Palm Beach. Guess where he went to high school?
Where?
South Lake Carroll, where I almost got the vanity plate from.
Wow.
Wow.
How about that? Some birthday shouts. Happy belated birthday to my longest running best furry friend in the world, my dog Bruce.
Oh, I thought it was me.
No, he turned 9. When's your birthday?
February 27th.
Your birthday is coming up then.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a month and 3 days away. How about that? We'll prepare accordingly, Jared, which is to say that I'll put a reminder in my phone and say happy birthday the day of. Happy birthday to Eva May as well. Shouts to everybody who has shared the show with friends and family over the past couple weeks. We appreciate you. Again, if you see our stuff on social media and you like it, comment at one of your friends or put it in your Instagram story or hit us with a retweet or like on TikTok or whatever. You can follow us on TikTok at The Ross Bolen Podcast, on Instagram at The Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. Jared is available at Jared Borislow on Twitter and Instagram. I'm available at WRBOLEN at WR Bolen on Twitter and Instagram. Big announcement in terms of Formula Bone, our F1 show here at Bolen Media. Jared is doing his first official race in the F1 video game on twitch.tv/Formula Bone this Thursday. Give us the details, Jared.
Well, Bolen Media has purchased me an entire fake car. I have a steering wheel, I have a car seat, and I have pedals, and it's called a sim rig, so it's a sim racing, right? I'm racing video game cars from a fake car in a real room.
Yeah, in our real hype house.
Yeah.
Here in Austin.
And so in between now and the start of the actual Formula One season, I'm going to go through an entire F1 season of the video game. Because of Ross, I was supposed to start last week. You know, the COVID thing happened. I'm a little back, so I'm gonna have to do a shit ton of streams, which means there is a lot of content coming at you in the next 2 months. A lot.
And for those of you, so for me, I haven't gotten the chance to get into the F1 stuff yet, but even for me, tuning in to watch you do the F1 racing game has been fucking hilarious. And there's like all this incredible conversation that goes on in the chat from actual F1 fans and then people who enjoy the games. And then you've got this dude who's helping you learn the game.
Shouts to Ryan.
And it's been super, super fun to watch you do some of the practice trials and stuff so far, another of which you're doing tonight.
Yeah,
but
and chat, the chat of the Twitch stream is going to be guiding every decision that I make in the game. So like you can upgrade your car, like, upgrade your spark plugs, upgrade your rear wing. I'm going to have chat decide everything, and chat's also going to pick a lot of other funny things I do. And if I do well by the end of the season, hopefully I'll get a podium. We're going to make it a little hard.
And if you want to help support Bolen Media, Formula Bone, Jared and I, and everything that we do, one of the ways you can do that is by going to twitch.tv/Formula Bone, throwing Jared a follow, and then when you tune in for the race on Thursday evening, if you have Amazon Prime.
Oh, I'm actually not affiliate yet.
Oh, well, you can do this with me, and eventually you'll be able to do it with you. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get one free Prime Gaming subscription per month to use on Twitch. So when Jared is eligible for that, make sure you hit twitch.tv/Formula Bone. I'm also on Twitch at twitch.tv/Boss Rollin', where I occasionally play some Halo and some Apex Legends and shit, but we really want y'all to focus on the Formula Bone Twitch over the next several weeks as we get that thing popping. It's going to be a lot of fun this Thursday evening, so make sure you look out on social media, follow Jared everywhere at Jared Borislow, and follow Formula Bone everywhere at Formula Bone so that you can see when he goes live. And again, if you just want to get prepared now, twitch.tv/Formula Bone, hit that follow button, and you should get a notification when the man goes live on Thursday. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for the support. You know where to get more RBP if you want it. It's patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast for an ad ad-free episode each and every week. And we'll be back soon with another one on Wednesday. So you got a Sunday episode and a Monday episode, and we're catching up from last week, and I'm recovering from COVID, and my brain feels a little bit less foggy today than it did yesterday, and I'm happy for that. More soon. Thank you. Appreciate you. Peace be with you, and also with you.